So Denise, could you, I think probably we want to start just by taking a quick look at, well, let's level set really briefly on the call, because there have been some discussions that have been happening on the Slack channel, but I'm not sure that everyone may have noticed them going by. So we have a resource leak issue that we identified several weeks ago in Spire that the Ericsson folks were good enough to find. They went and filed an issue with the Spire folks. The Spire folks tracked down the root cause, fixed the issue, and they are expecting to be doing a release of Spire tomorrow that will contain the fix. Now, we had originally been planning on doing a release yesterday for Network Service Mesh v1.3, but using a Spire that is leaking resources for the 1.3 release is not good. And so there was a lot of discussion about postponing the release until April 12th, so that we could incorporate the new Spire, the new version of Spire, and give everybody a chance to go and run their tests against it, and then roll out a really strong v1.3 release on the 12th. And having gone back and forth with a bunch of the sort of concerned parties on this on Slack, I think everybody is in a position where they're more or less okay with this at this point. And there will be more discussion, I think, in the broader community meeting, not only about that, but also about timing for the v1.4 release. But I did want to sort of level set why it is that we're primarily focused right now on the 1.3 release still, and why it didn't go out yesterday as previously expected. Do folks have any questions about any of this?
It sounds fantastic for me. Yep, currently we're waiting for a new release from Spire guys, and they should release Spire for tomorrow. So we are waiting, and Science, we are moved release date to next week. We internally moved from a few topics from soft commitment into hard commitment. So Ed, would you like to see our current sprint?
Yes, if you could drop a link to the spreadsheet into the chat, that would be great. And we'll go ahead and share that, and we can talk through where that stands.
Done.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go ahead and share. All right. So looks like a bunch of the, most things are up in order. Which things would you like to talk through? I think we've got this open Spire instability, which is what we're waiting for.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
We're also faced with unexpected problem with Golang linter action that currently is not working for main branches. It's related to change in Ubuntu default Go version. The version was increased to 1.17, and with this version, Golang linter is not working. But as we found, they already provided a fix. We simply need to update Golang linter action version to latest, and it should resolve all current problems.
Okay.
Currently, Albert started work with it.
Excellent. All right. So that should be fairly easy to resolve. On the advanced healing pieces, it looks like we have some advanced healing things done for this release, but some things are going to be deferred for the 1.4 release, correct?
I guess, yeah, but it looks like currently that most of pieces can be landed till release 1.3. We are very close with last PRs.
So we we may want to be very cautious there though, because it's important that the 1.3 go out stably, that we don't accidentally introduce any sort of new issues into 1.3. So we need to take a very, very hard look at how sure are we, because this may be something that we have to defer to 1.4 just to make sure that we don't accidentally introduce last minute regressions or instabilities. Does that make sense?
This sounds smart. So I think, yep, we can move this feature for the next release and keep it for the 1.4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as excited as everybody else to get the data path healing going. I'm like really excited to get the data path healing going. If we were not at this particular place in the release cycle, I would be all about it. But we are past feature freeze right now. And we do have people depending on the stability of the 1.3 that we're shipping. So we want to make sure that we're very cautious in that regard.
Okay, if we'll go with this feature for this release, we'll do more testing.
Okay, all right, cool.
And also, we have moved topics related to VL3 examples. Currently, I'm working with VL3 and interdomain examples. It's currently in progress. I found a few instabilities during testing, but in general, kind-to-kind scenario is working fine for me, for my local machine. So I'll provide examples right after I resolve the problem with instability. And also we started examples with VL3 and healing, and VL3 and scale from 0. We also found an interesting problem within scale from 0 and VL3 example. So as you remember, scale from 0 example is based on the network service that has 2 matches. The first match selects VL3 endpoint, and the second match, if we have not VL3 endpoint, selects auto-scale endpoint. Is it clear at this moment?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, so we found a problem that VL3 endpoint can find auto-scale endpoint and try to connect to it as for VL3 endpoint, because they has the same network service name.
Okay, I don't quite follow, but maybe we should take that part of the conversation offline.
Sure. So in short, by another words, since we have 2 endpoints that has the same network service, the one endpoint is auto-scale endpoint that just deploys VL3 endpoints, and the second endpoint that implements the service is just.
I think I see where you're going, which is that the VL3 network service endpoints try and connect to all the VL3s that are out there.
Yep. And we found a solution that we can try to use Discover logic. I mean logic from Discover chain element that can select candidates by labels and network service. So we probably can do something similar in VL3 endpoint to match only VL3 endpoint and don't match auto-scale endpoint.
Okay, that's certainly one approach to the problem. That's definitely one approach to the problem you could take. Another approach you could think about, and again, I don't know which one is a better choice, is right now you have the VL3s looking for the same network service for cross-connecting between each other. as the clients look for when they're connecting to them. You might also consider whether you want to have a different network service name for the cross connect between VL3 endpoints. That could be another potential solution, and there are probably pluses and minuses in both directions.
Yep, but as you can see, we can't use different service names because client wants the service that should be auto scalable. And it seems to me that we can't use different network service names.
Okay, we can chat about it a bit offline.
Yep, sure. And also, Artem found an issue with policy-based routing example.
Okay.
Artem, could you please say more about it?
Here we just need to update our example in deployment KTS for policy-based routing. Nothing affecting functionality. We just didn't update our example after API change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is good.
I'll prepare PR tomorrow.
Yep. It's one of the things that I sort of like, as I mentioned before, in terms of the stability of getting things out, of the things that go out the door, updating our example just so that it matches the code changes, that doesn't do anything to affect the stability of the overall system. That's just purely fixing a bug in the examples. The other one I'm super interested to find out is the instability you're seeing in the VL3 interdomain example. I'm very curious to see what the root cause of that is, because that root cause might be something that's specific to VL3, or it could be something that is there's some instability in the broader system. There's some bug in the broader system that VL3 reveals, and then we have to sort of consider whether we want to put to 1.3 or not. But yeah, those are both going to be interesting.
Yep, I'll check it. So currently it looks like a problem of VL3 stuff.
Okay, that's good news. As I think I've commented before, one of the things that makes me feel warm and fuzzy is when we discover that issues and bugs are highly localized. So if you've got a bug and it turns out the bug is just in one place that's fairly localized, then you probably are in a good place overall in terms of the code base and the design of the code base. When you find bugs that require you to make changes in lots of places, those bugs worry me because they tend to point to there being a problem at the design level, and design bugs are harder to fix. So awesome.
Yep, true.
Okay. Anything else then that we need to go over today from here? Do other folks have other things they think they need to discuss today, particularly around the 1.3 release?
Also, we internally discussed with you about healing for Calico scenarios when our forwarder is restarting or failing. So question, will we plan to continue work in this direction in next release, or it's currently just blocked?
I think we should probably find an answer to this problem for the next release, because I don't think leaking things is a good answer, but I don't see us getting this fixed in the 1.3 release, just because the sort of things we're talking about are too involved. I mean, you could potentially, yeah, the things we're talking about, sort of both pathways we've talked about for solutions, would feel to me too risky to put into the 1.3 release at this stage. But we can look at them, and I think those are the last little bits of healing for the Calico integration example, correct?
Yep, it's producing only in Calico mode. Yeah,
the other one that occurs to me that's going to be just hell on wheels is how do you test the corner case that is only tripped when you get a panic crash? That's going to be hard to test. But yeah,
that's actually a good question. Artem, how did you test it?
So I just used a flag like create. We can watch if we have some file on the file system, and if I create a new file, I can the application can watch it and panic if that file exists. So after that, I can. The application can panic and fail.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
we may want to, one thing we may want to consider doing for that when we get towards examples, for checking that case and healing, is it may be cleaner rather than changing the code in the forwarder or the NSE or something. It might be cleaner to have something that uses kube control exec to kill -9 the forwarder. Because if you send kill to the forwarder, it can't
yes,
catch it.
I also tried this approach.
Does it actually? Does it work in terms of creating the circumstance that you're working through?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. Awesome. So really quickly, because we got. Go ahead.
I have another question related to Calico. So I think we have one thing that we need to know, that currently we use a master branch for Calico VPP. And they are still not released new version, but we have a significant change. They have a significant changes from the last release. I've asked guys yesterday about new release, and they say that it will be ready the next week. So,
okay. So we may what I'm basically hearing is we may need to have a little bit more of a conversation with them about stabilizing what's going on with their releases. So okay, I've got that. Noted.
Artem, are we using Calico main version in our deployments repository, or we are using it only for integration testing?
We use it only for our CI on kind cluster or packet cluster. It is not related to deployments KDS. We use it only for setup cluster.
Yeah, so one of the things we may want to consider for as we move forward to the 1.4 release is, because we have Calico CI testing, I think right now we've got the VPP version that's in the command forwarder VPP is basically incorporating all the patches that Calico would include. And we sort of did that to make sure that things would work properly. But if we've got CI that's actually using the Calico images in our CI, then we can basically move towards a more stable version, like maybe a release version of VPP for what goes into the forwarder and what goes into the NSEs and those sorts of things. Does that make sense?
I think yes.
Okay. So really quickly, because we only got 3 minutes before we have to run to the community call. Anybody else have anything else, especially anything related to the V1.3 release? So what are the really quick check? Laszlo, I noticed that you pushed a draft PR. I presume that that's intended for 1.4. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, good. Just wanted to be sure.
Also, Laszlo, I saw your PR related to integration kinds that passed all checks. Is this PR ready to merge?
Oh, that's interesting and complicated things. We have this OVS forwarder related test, which
the one about coming down to a single image.
Yeah, partly yes, but the main thing is that this CI doesn't run successfully on GitHub, only locally, and
Okay.
always fails since.
Can we take this conversation to the broader community meeting? Because it's going to be
Yeah,
starting in about 2
okay.
minutes.
All right.
So
All right.
let's make sure we bring it back up there because I don't want to lose the conversation. And I will see you over in the
Okay.
community call.
See you.
Thank you. See you.